Hi, everybody. I'm Dr. Amy Ches, and I'm here with Rhonda Rajsich, and I'm here with Erika Manilla. And I just wanted to welcome all of you to our live stream tonight and say hello. So, hello. First of all, I have to say it's such a joy to see you. Rhonda, I haven't had a chance to catch up with you from the big news, but I have to say, oh my gosh, congratulations. I want to hear all about, Guatemala and everything that happened and what it feels like to be a medal winner, to bring back gold for the United States as a team for the first time since 2014. I mean, congratulations. And it's just an honor to even be able to talk to you today. I'm just so excited to see you back in the States.
Thank you. It's great to be back. And yeah, it was definitely an eventful couple of weeks. Team USA definitely showed up. I mean, we played well. We, as a team, as a whole, as a unit, we were fairly solid throughout the entire event. And I know that this, this World Championships was particularly weighted for us since it was for the singles players only. It was a qualifier for the World Games in Birmingham next summer, which is a big deal. And as far as I know, we're the only country, and I could be wrong, but as far as I know, we're the only country who actually had all 4 singles players qualify for Birmingham going into next summer. So that was pretty huge. And then, to cap it off with a Team USA getting the cup overall was pretty huge as well. I mean, I didn't know this. I don't remember the last time we got it. I mean, when you've been around for as many of these things as I have, they all kind of start to blend together a little bit. But I think the last time we took home the overall was in 2014. So it was a bit of a drought that we were able to quench this year, and it was pretty special. It was a really special group. Everyone played great. The facility actually, all those courts were just recently built, and it was a pretty spectacular venue. I thought the courts, for as fresh and new as they were very well put together. A couple of bounces to get used to, but we were all playing on the same courts and reading the same bounces. But I would say overall, those were some of the best courts that we've probably played an international event on. And obviously, we all enjoyed ourselves and enjoyed bringing home the gold for USA.
Well, again, congratulations. I mean, you're a legend, in the sport and here in our hometown of Phoenix, Arizona. It's just incredible. But I mean, I was following along as a fan for the blog every night. And it was just like, nail biting kind of watching. I mean, there were some really close matches and scores. I mean, from what I could see and read, like there were some serious battles going on those courts, and it was just amazing. So, what was your take on that? I mean, I've seen the evidence of what you can do to a ball, and I know how scary it can be. But what was your take on just the battles and how it felt?
Hey, I think everyone brought their A game. I mean, everyone from all the countries, everyone stepped it up, just a bit. I mean, for us on the LPRT, that was actually the 3rd of 4 big tournaments in a row that we all had. We had a tier 1 in Arizona, and a couple of days later, we all had one in Chicago, and a day or two later, we're flying straight to Guatemala City for World Championships, and we were all there for 2 weeks. And then some people went straight from Guatemala. Erika did, for example, went straight from Guatemala to a pro stop in Maryland. And out of those 3 tournaments, I can confidently say that I think everyone from all the countries that participated in the Worlds brought their A game. That was the best competition, men's side and women's side, that I've seen in a long time.
Wow. So Erika, I wanted to congratulate you as well for just, incredible, play and what was the experience like for you?
Well, first off, I got to play on the right side of Rhonda. So pretty incredible. Can't say really anything else. And so this is my first time being able to compete at an international world championship on the adult team. So wearing USA on my back is the reason I play racquetball. And it just motivated me even more than I already was. And I am just through the roof excited. And we won. I mean, that's pretty epic. Come on, we're Team USA. We got it. Uh-huh.
It's so good. I mean, that's really, you know, what Intent is all about, is tapping that inner power and potential that every single one of us has to do what we can do. And there's no better platform for that than thinking about what you guys do every day, you know, working for Team USA and representing Team USA in your sport. So I want to ask both of you, how did you get involved, you know, in racquetball? How did that start?
Go ahead, partner.
So I started when I was about 5-6 years old, where pretty much the racket was as big as I was. I like to say that I did not like the gym daycare at all. It was horrible. I used to sneak out all the time. So I think the racquetball court was my parents' childcare for me, you know? So they used to put me in there, and then my brother and I started whacking the ball around. Went to a junior national event at the age of 6. We ended up winning, truthfully just because we were athletic. And then after that, the rest is history. So I just fell in love with the sport. But how about you, partner?
Man, I didn't know our stories were so similar. Actually, my parents joined a health club when I was 2, and I too found a way to sneak out of the nursery because I don't want to be in there. And my father was just learning to play from my godfather, actually, and my mom was either playing tennis or doing aerobics. And so when I couldn't find my mom, I would go walk around the club and look for my dad. And I'd find out which court he was on and be like, oh, okay, there he is. And then I'd run down to the basketball court and just kind of do what I could with a basketball, even though it was, you know, bigger than I was at the time as well. And I'd keep an eye on my dad's court. And when he was in between games, I'd run up and steal his racket and run on the court and start whacking at it as well. And, you know, what are you doing out here? Where's your mother? Give the big people the racket back now. Come on. What are you doing? And actually, I think until, you know, I started having to do these interviews and explain how I got started in that way, I think neither one of my folks actually knew that I was sneaking out. I think my dad always thought my mom took me out of daycare, and that my mom always thought my dad took me out. I don't think they realized that I figured out how to pry the door open so that I could sneak out when they weren't watching. So yeah, we both started out pretty young.
As a parent, that's absolutely terrifying, but we'll just that must be a common thread. Team USA athletes sneak out of daycare to play.
Don't do that at home.
We got to keep this PG, right? We got to be careful about what we tell.
We're professionals. This is not for everyone. We
need disclaimers right now, right? And so, like, you guys get to travel all over the country, all over the world, you know, playing on Team USA. So where's your favorite place to play, like here in the States? And then what about your favorite place to play internationally?
That's
so hard. I have, and that's so hard because, I mean, sometimes it's, you know, it's the courts, or it's the amount of viewership that we can get around a court, and other times it's just, you know, the tournament staff are so great in how they put everything together. So I know that this is going to sound like a total cop-out answer, but there really is no tournament like the US Open. I'm going to go with the all glass court because that's really the biggest stage that we have in the States for, you know, for our pro events and whatnot. And you just, that glass court, man, you can literally fit tons of bleachers around every side of it. And, you know, the lighting and the, you know, the announcements and the entrance music and just the whole, you know, the VIP boxes, it's such a different experience from any other event. And that's not to say that any other event doesn't have, you know, completely respectable and amazing merits of its own, but it's just the only one that kind of stands out like that, where it's just so different.
I would agree. US Open definitely is incredible. For best tournament though I've ever been to, I'd have to choose a local Colorado tournament. It used to be Cinco de Mayo, but then that was during finals, so we changed it Cinco de Marcho. And it's just in Pueblo. Pueblo is not a beautiful town. Sorry, everyone that's in Pueblo. It's ugly down there, truthfully. But the people down there are incredible. The club's amazing. It's one of those places where everyone is hanging out in the common area from 8 a.m. until 2 a.m., 3 a.m. in the morning. It's just one of those tournaments where you don't want to go back to the hotel. You just want to stay there the whole entire day, talk with people, have fun. My arm feels like it's going to fall off by the end of the day. She plays so much racquetball, but it's just probably one of my favorite events, and it's a local small town tournament. So I love the US Open. That's like my dream, my goal as a professional. But then for like love of the game and the heart of where I learned and enjoy racquetball, I would say Pueblo, Colorado. crazy enough.
I want to remind viewers also that if you guys have any questions, please like throw them in the comments so that we can, happy to answer those, for you as well. When you're traveling around, do you see a big difference? Both of you, like Rhonda, Erika, I mean, I know you're at different, places as far as, how many tournaments you played in and all of those things. But is there a big difference between that small town feel and that, big time tournament feel? Like, how do you gauge that? How do you, as an athlete, how does it affect your play?
I think truly it comes down to, like the tournament staff and the support that they garner locally, and also, the fans and the fan engagement and how interested they are and how invested they are in us being there. And, for a lot of these places, we're only in their area once a year. And a lot of these places, a lot of the fans we might engage with there might not travel to as many events as we do. Like, we might not see them at the US Open. We might not see them at a national singles or a national doubles. So that's like the one time a year that we get to see them and they get to see us. And so that always makes it special. But I mean, there's places that are absolute racquetball meccas that just have such a hardcore following and just such a hardcore, like, the diehard fans that, they remember your post from last year when you were getting ready for your first national match, blah, blah, blah. So, I mean, it really comes down to, the feel of an event comes down to the fan engagement and the support at the local level and being able to, it's really, really cool to feel like you're literally traveling from city to city to city, or even country to country. And yet everywhere you go, you're surrounded by this racquetball family that all has that common thread. It's a really special vibe to catch, every wave when you have a tournament in so many different places, and yet there's a familiarity to every event as well.
What she said.
Well, with all that
we're here, partner. We're here.
I know you guys are like, let's think. I'm trying to think about all that travel, and what does it look like to be a Team USA athlete, and how does that impact your training schedules? Like, what does your workout and your nutrition look like, and how do you interplay how you can stay on top of your game as well as you guys do, you gals do, which is amazing. How do you incorporate nutrition and exercise, and what does a day in the life or a week in the life look like for you guys?
Truthfully, that's probably been the hardest part of me becoming a pro full-time Team USA athlete. So this is my first year of doing this full-time, where my partner up there has a lot more years than I do. And so it was a huge challenge. It was weekly conversations with my trainer saying, hey, I have 2 weeks off, or my PT saying, hey, here's what's going on with my body. Here's where, like, I'm a little bit sore. Can I still work out to make sure I'm still good for this next day? And then trying to learn nutrition and trying to count my calories, and then trying to figure out, what do I eat on the road? What works for me when I eat on the road? Like, what am I supposed to eat the week before, during the week, where a couple of years ago it was only 3 tournaments a year. So I knew exactly how to do my training schedule, but now it's 4 tournaments in a row, and I'm like, wait, when do I lift? When do I train? What do I lift? And so it's probably been one of the hardest things for me to figure out. And I think it's one of the most exciting things, because I get to learn something new every single tournament, and I'm just becoming more in better tune with my body after the last couple months, because every single week, sometimes it changes. Sometimes it's like, oh, today I'm going to go lift, even though I play in 2-3 days, but I know I need to lift. And other days it's, no, I know my body needs to recover, so I'm going to recover. And I remember Rhonda telling me that before I went pro was, you're just going to learn your body. And I'm like, what do you mean I'll learn my body? Like, give me something to like work on or do something, give me some hints. And it's so true. I've never been so in tune with my body, and I'm excited to just continue to grow through that and continue to learn it.
Is there a certain like diet that you follow, or a certain kind of like, general plan or rule that like the rest of us lowly people like would understand?
I believe in the high carb diet. Like a lot of carbs. Just kidding. It's not a diet.
You can look like that and be on high carbs.
I say eat like a caveman. So anything that's a whole food is what I like to do. And so I I don't like to get the ingredients lists that are this long and I don't know what half of them are. And so I like being able to look at ingredients lists and understand what I'm eating and putting into my body. And I'm going to steal this from Rhonda, but I don't care because I'm her partner. But it's like your body's a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. Fuel your tank with what kind of gas you would put into a premium car. So we only get this body once. This is the only lifetime we get. So whatever you're fueling your body with, that's the kind of energy that you're going to be able to use when later on in your day. So like Intent. I mean, yes. Good fueling your body, putting in all the nutrients it needs throughout the whole entire day. And so treat your body as if it was a nice car. Sorry, I stole that from you, Rhonda.
By all means. You're not wrong. You're not wrong.
Is there anything you want to add to that, Rhonda, about how you figured out how to deal with the schedule that you have and stay in such great shape and on top of your game?
Everything Erika says, except I will add that it is a constant learning process. I mean, it's a learning that doesn't really end. Like once you think you've got it all dialed in, you'll realize, hey, maybe that's not working for me anymore, or it was, and now I've plateaued and I need to elevate to the next, step in this part of my growth. So it is kind of a never-ending learning experience, and all of it comes back to, again, being in tune with your body, paying attention to yourself, paying attention to what feels good and what doesn't, what serves you and what doesn't, what is available to you and what isn't. I think that probably some of the hardest things to navigate are knowing what you want to eat and you can't find that anywhere near your hotel room, or it doesn't exist in that country, or, it's the next one is the closest thing is 60 miles away and you can't get there in time, type of a thing. So being able to, figure out what works and what doesn't, and then also being able to have, some contingency plans in case you can't find, for example, Erika, can't find your oatmeal first thing in the morning, or, you didn't bring it with you, or got lost in your luggage, or the airport took it, that has happened before as well. So being able to know what works for you and yet still being fluid enough to kind of go with the flow when you have to. I mean, I'm not proud of it, but I was in another country once where literally the only thing that my stomach wasn't afraid of was McDonald's. That was not my pregame meal of choice, but it did the job in a pinch. So, but again, it's one of those things where you just have to be aware, fluid, and use the best of what you got when you've got it.
Erika, I love what you said about, clean ingredients and labels. And that was kind of how the formulations for Intent came to be, was, we didn't want any preservatives or anything bad in there, and kind of giving your body those micronutrients so that you could have what you needed at different times throughout the day. And most importantly, deal with the stresses. And sometimes when we think about stresses, it's not just emotional stress, it's physical stress, as well, and mental stress. So those adaptogens that are in there, those micronutrients that are all plant-based and natural, help your body deal with those stresses, and our bodies use them in different ways. So I can only imagine how someone who isn't a professional athlete, can tell that you need these things, otherwise you're not sleeping well and you don't have energy. That's important for me as a doctor, for the patients that I see all the time. But it is uncanny that the people who seem to be most aware and appreciative of the fact that Intent is clean and gives you those micronutrients and honey seem to be the professional athletes, where you guys are traveling and having these issues where you're not sleeping in recovery. So, and recovering well, and your energy and focus, these things become so important. So I'd like to kind of find out a little bit more about how do you deal with disrupting that natural sleep-wake cycle or your circadian rhythm? How do you get back on track as athletes, week to week or month to month?
I'll jump in on this. I will say that for as long as I've been doing this, as many places as I've been to, and as many matches as I've played over my lifetime, that's the easy part. What takes the biggest toll on my body personally is the travel, the airline seats that are not meant to be comfortable in any direction, and being on a different hotel bed and pillow all the time. I mean, your body is just constantly trying to find or regain alignment somehow. And that's not just, skeletally, it's also, like you said, with the time zone changes and everything, and the stressors, and, close matches, and having maybe 4 matches in a row or 4 tournaments in a row in our case. it does take a toll. And, one of the things that I have found with Intent that I've been using since, I believe I met you guys in early April is when I first started trying out Intent. And one of the biggest benefits I've gotten from it was knowing what time zone I'm going to be in for the next event has allowed me to sort of consume my Intent beverages, a few days early. I'll start, instead of having it at 8 a.m. in Phoenix time when I wake up, I might have it at 7 a.m. since I'm going to be on Central time at my next event. And just little things like that. And then kind of planning that throughout, my preparation for the next event, and then being able to dial it back in when I get home, kind of easing off of it and like, okay, now I'm not going to have it till 9 p.m. because I'm going to sleep in, and being able to count on its consistency, no matter what time zone I'm in, helping me dial in that rhythm helps me be more consistent on the court and off the court. I mean, I think it actually helps me recover more quickly when I get home too, because instead of coming home and crashing like I need to be in bed for 2 or 3 days before I want to get up and rejoin the world again, I can actually come home and get a pretty decent night's sleep right off the bat and function pretty well the first day. Might not be lifting that day, might be taking the day off training wise, but I do feel like I'm able to bounce back a little quicker as well.
And how about you, Erika?
I would definitely agree with everything Rhonda said as well. Intent specific, I would say it's been really cool because I'm learning this whole nutrition thing as I'm going. So when I'm going to work out early in the morning, I like coffee every single morning, but if I'm working out at like 6 a.m. or 7 a.m., a whole 2-3 cups of coffee, I'm not going to wake up at 4 a.m. to drink my 2-3 cups of coffee. So I love being able to get that morning, just the red Intent. It's super yummy, just really quick, settles quickly. So I feel good and ready to go into my training session. And then definitely in the middle of the afternoon, that green drink, that is my lifesaver. Because I'm one of those people where I'm like, I'm going. And I'm like, all right, where's my energy? Come on. And I drink and I'm like, hey, yo, we're back.
Nice.
So definitely something that I've loved and been able to try. And I would say I'm not quite there as Rhonda is of knowing exactly where my body's at after a tournament and what I need to, because sometimes I stress out about the next event. I'm like, no, I need to train. I messed up on these couple of things beforehand. I have 3 days until our next event. I need to hop on the court, where in reality, I probably just need to lay in bed and sleep for a day or two. And so sometimes my mind is thinking a lot more and my body is like, whoa, hold on. And my mind's like, nope. So I'm definitely still learning in that aspect, but
that's understandable. So I think there's a question that we have in the chat box from Bradley. So let's see, what did Bradley have to say? When training, how long and how many days per week will you hit the ball? Rhonda, you want to take that?
Sure. Actually, my answer to that is I don't have a specific time in mind. And the reason for that is intentional. I don't punch a time clock. It's not my goal to go to the gym and be like, okay, it's 2 p.m. now, I'm going to stay here until 5. That's not why I'm there. I'm there to actually accomplish something and be purposeful with my time. So however long that takes, I never actually measure my practices and how long I was there. I measure it in how many sets of 10 did I hit where I was able to get 10 out of 10 on this shot that I'm working on, or this serve, or this footwork pattern, or my ceiling balls, whatever it may be. It's purpose driven, not time driven. So I can't actually give you a direct answer for that, Bradley. I apologize. And as far as how many days per week, that is also dependent on how much time I have between events. For example, I didn't hit the ball at all between these events because I had to just come home, do laundry, and pack for the next one and leave. However, now that I have 6 weeks or so before the next event, I'm probably going to take about these 2 weeks off, enjoy the holidays, enjoy my family, and let my body do all the recovering it's going to do. Got a couple injuries here and there that I'm going to let heal up. And then probably early January, I'll get right back at it. But again, it'll be purpose driven, not time driven. Because I want to manage my focus. I don't want to manage my time. I want to manage my focus. So as long as I'm being productive, as long as I'm getting done what I need to out of that session, it doesn't matter how long it takes me. If it takes me 4 hours to do one thing, 10 out of 10, then that's how long it takes me. If it takes me 45 minutes to do 10 out of 10, I can move on to the next thing. It's not a time clock thing for me. It's a did I get better today thing for me. One of my favorite quotes. Erika, I know I've said this to you when you were about that big. Don't practice till you get it right. Practice till you can't get it wrong. So that's my goal when I get out there and I'm working on my skills.
Awesome. And we have another chat box question, this time from Glenn McPhee. So do you guys lift weights on match day or day before or afterwards?
On match day, I typically don't lift. I think Rhonda has before. I would say at Guatemala, it was a 10-day long event and I was only playing doubles. So I had 2 off days. On those days, I didn't want to lift weights, but I did a lot of single leg body weight stuff. And so I did TRX, I did single leg squats, anything that really worked on my balance and kind of just awakening up my muscles to be like, hey, yo, we got to play tomorrow. Kind of just reactivate. But typically I try to ensure that my body strength wise is where it needs to be out before the event. And then if I do need that extra little awakening for my muscles, then I'll lift. But I know she's different up there.
And that's the thing. I mean, you guys are getting glimpses into what it's like, a day in the life of a professional Team USA athlete. But at the same time, we're very different. Like our bodies are different. How we get the most out of ourselves is different. Yes, I absolutely have lifted on match days, on tournament days. Not to say that I've done that every time, but again, that was me listening to and paying attention to my body and what it needed in that moment to try to be my best. And you take account on how that served you. Like, did I feel better that day, or did I feel slow and sluggish? Did I feel strong and explosive, or did I feel fatigued? These are all things that you learn from, and you don't have to do it on an actual tournament day to find out, and then you're upset with yourself if you lost and you did something different. I mean, go ahead and with your practice partners say, hey, I want when we play tomorrow morning or afternoon or evening or whatever, tell your practice partner, I want to treat this like it's the first round of the next tournament. So I'm going to come in and prepare as if I would be entering the first round of, say, a nationals or a pro stop or whatever your next local event may be, in whatever division that may be. Prepare for your practice the same way that you would prepare for that tournament match. And if you decide you want to try lifting maybe in the morning, if you have an afternoon or evening match, or maybe just a real quick, lightweight, explosive couple of moves as part of your warm up. I mean, I've done that too. It really just comes down to knowing what you respond to. And as you can see, I mean, you literally have 2 of the best in the world right here. And we both operate on that thing totally different. What works for me may not work for her. What works for her may not work for me. This is where you just have to kind of pay attention to yourself. And again, it's a continuously learning process, which is pretty cool. I think you don't get bored when you're constantly learning.
Definitely.
It's amazing how there's this theme of what you're talking about, how like everybody's body's different, and yet we all have to kind of learn, how things work. But it comes down to keeping in rhythm and keeping in sync with what we do, whether it's exercise, nutrition, what we put in our bodies. Keeping things in sync helps us do what we do better. And that's really the premise of how Intent came to be. I'm not a pro athlete, by all means. I was that person that used to hit balls in Florida. And I remember playing tennis, and they'd all be over the fence and they'd be floating out in the pond, and people would walk by and go, "Oh, Amy was playing again yesterday," So I mean, I was outed all the time. That's a whole other conversation. I'm going to need some personal intervention there, Rhonda, as far as some help with being a racket. But keeping in sync with being busy in our daily life. Right? Whether we're on a court or we're working or managing families, our jobs, too many Zooms, all those things, being able to keep in sync with what we do so we can enjoy what we do and be the best at whatever that is for us on an everyday basis. That's really what drives the concept of intent. That if you want to keep in sync with your natural rhythm and in your circadian rhythm so that you can enjoy your life and be the best that you can be, that's how these ingredients were put together and these formulations were put together. And there's 3, one for morning, one for afternoon for that focus and endurance, and then at night to kind of rest and recover. Of the 3, do you have a favorite, Erika and Rhonda?
Mine is definitely the midday one, I would say. I love the flavor of it. I love how it gives me my extra energy because, I love energy. I just crave it all the time. And so that one's probably one of my favorite, but I do like all three. I drink all three, and you can definitely tell the difference in what it does for your body. So.
Awesome.
Yeah, I like the nighttime. I like the night shift. Night shift is my favorite. And I feel like I get a more complete sleep. I mean, I'm one of those people that, for several different reasons, most of it being pain in my face, like when I roll over and such, I wake up a ton throughout the night. Like I wake up almost every time I change positions, and the times where I've been able to have, my steady stream of intent with me, it's just so much easier to fall back asleep. I mean, I still wake up, but it's usually not as frequently, and I tend to fall asleep faster from waking up, and also just getting a better quality sleep as well. And I will admit, Erika, this heads up to you on this one, partner, but for the longest time, I didn't realize how much rest and recovery I didn't realize the gravity of its importance in the training and getting better and building process. I actually had written on my shoes, on one foot I had the word go, the other foot said harder, because I honestly felt like if I wasn't pushing myself to the point of exhaustion and throwing up in every workout, that I wasn't going hard enough. And that just literally ran me into the ground. And it was extremely disappointing too. I mean, emotionally, feeling like I'm not getting the results I deserve based on the work that I'm putting in, and I don't understand why. And actually, it was Coach Winterton who asked me, "When's the last time you took a month off?" And I looked at him like it was blasphemy. I'm like, I've never taken a month off. What are you talking about? Like, never. I've never done that. He goes, "I don't want you to touch this was at the end of March, or I'm sorry, at the end of May, right after I lost fairly early at a national singles in Houston." And he said, "I don't want you to touch your rackets again until July." And I was like, I don't know if I can do that. And it was definitely, I mean, I was twitching and breaking out in hives and whatnot, not touching my rackets for a while, but I did it. And then it was really strange. The coolest thing happened when I did dust them off and go play again. I actually, all the bad habits that I was trying to like so hard to force out of my system, they had just melted away on their own. Like when I went back in, everything was just so smooth and easy, and everything that I had been working towards before I put the rackets down, I just couldn't get it. And it was because I literally thought overtraining was a myth. And that was when I learned that actually rest and recovery and finding that balance was something that I did not have for a very long time. But being able to find that balance of how to train, how to recover, and how to properly fuel myself. All three legs of that triangle for me need to be even, and I can definitely tell when they're not. And it makes a huge difference in how I perform.
Wow. I think that's a perfect segue. As a person who created, in Intent, I had people like both of you in mind, as far as, people who, what you do matters so much. And, I just want to say thank you, first of all, as an American, just knowing how well we're represented, by the two of you. It's just an honor and joy to be talking with both of you. And I wanted athletes like you to have really good, high quality ingredients, honey for immunity, and pro athletes having the opportunity to have access to really good, healthy drinks is really important to us at Intent. So I did want to share with you another pro athlete and his experience with Intent, and a little promo video, as we continue on in our little stream tonight. So if we could roll that video, that would be awesome.
A quick video about Intent. Been drinking this for about 2 months now. Started right before training camp, kind of the hardest time of the year for us in the football business. I've been loving it ever since. It's I just love the fact it's got all organic ingredients. Obviously important what I put in my body. On a night like tonight, getting ready to wind down. Usually drink some chamomile tea, but I'm living in Arizona, way too hot for that. So we got the chamomile nighttime flavor right here. And I just love a product that has a purpose. Has a purpose to when you're using it, why you're using it. And been drinking it for 2 months, and I don't see myself stopping anytime soon. So Intent, keep doing what you guys are doing. You're awesome.
I love that. So true. Absolutely so true.
Ditto.
So I wanted to have a chance to do a little bit of a little quick, speed round here with both of you and ask some questions on the fly. So I wanted to see if maybe, Erika, we could start with you. Would that be all right?
Oh boy, yeah, let's do it.
So we're gonna do our little speed round. So Erika, what's your favorite time of day?
Ah, shoot, I'm bad at this. Sorry. That's so complicated. It depends on the day.
All right.
All right, restart. Morning.
Okay. Dogs or cats?
Dogs.
Summer or winter?
Summer. Ah, that's tough though. Okay.
And then what school subject are you worst at?
English.
Oh, favorite vacation spot?
Mountains.
Sunrise or sunset?
Sunset.
Flip-flops or tennis shoes?
Tennis shoes.
And if you could be any animal, what would it be?
Dolphin. They're smart.
Forehand or backhand?
Forehand.
And then, who is your favorite doubles partner?
Rhonda Racing, baby.
Awesome. So I get to give it to you now, Rhonda, and ask you, okay?
All right.
All right. So what's your favorite food?
Pizzeria Bianco.
What time of day do you feel the most productive?
Morning.
Vegetables or fruit?
Fruit.
Beach or mountains?
Beach.
Quick advice you would give your younger self?
Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
Favorite movie?
Jaws.
What word do you have trouble spelling?
Onomatopoeia.
Oh, that's good. And what color pen ball do you play with?
Green.
What morning do you prefer, early morning match or late evening match?
Oh, early morning.
And who's your favorite doubles partner?
Erika Manilla.
Winner. Okay, what is that food?
What's up with Jaws?
It's the best movie ever made in the history of cinema. Why is that a shock to everyone?
You know how many children are like terrified for life because of that movie? Yes.
This is why you're the doctor.
It was a mechanical shark that never worked. Okay, don't worry. It's safe.
But you didn't know that as a kid.
You can tell. You can tell. We didn't have 3D back then. Come on now.
Oh, that's just awesome. Well, you know, ladies, I have to say thank you, and coming from Intent, it's an honor to be able to be an official partner for Team USA Racquetball. Congratulations on your incredible play in Guatemala. I mean, the medals, the bringing it home for the United States. I mean, we are just so honored to have you, on the court representing the country. Just completely honored. So it's been a joy to meet with you guys tonight and speak with you. And I'm just so thankful that you were here tonight and taking time. So I appreciate it.
And thank you for everything you've done for us. 100%. I mean, you guys definitely fuel every single one of us Team USA members. You sent us a tent to US Open when we were competing. So huge help. And so just everything you guys do for us, it's a huge help as well. So huge thank you to you guys as well.
It's our pleasure. And I just want to thank all the fans too.
I have a question real quick. Weren't you just in Santa Monica for something spectacular?
Oh, yes. So Intent was honored as a new innovative brand. We were a semi-finalist in the New Beverage Showdown. So in all the beverages in the industry, Intent was honored as and featured as a semi-finalist in the industry. So it was a true honor to be among the new innovative brands in beverages. So it was pretty cool.
Congratulations.
You guys. See, I'm glad somebody else is paying attention to it too. Because I mean, again, thank you for everything that you do for us, for Team USA, for me personally. And, thank you for creating this incredible beverage that I think, no one really knew we needed it until we had it. And not just us as professional athletes, but I mean, every human being needs to be able to wake and strive and sleep well, no matter where you are, no matter what you do, no matter, what your day brings you. like you said, like your own ad says, we all have this in common just as beings, and it's awesome that there's finally someone who's paying attention to that, and Kim created something that that can help all of us with that. So thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you, guys.
See
Have
ya.
a good night, everybody.
Happy holidays.
Yes, happy holidays.